All right, happy 4th of July, everyone. Hopefully, everyone had a safe and enjoyable holiday and had some fun spending time with families, friends, whatever you decided to do today. Hopefully, you had a good 4th. And with that, hopefully, you're also looking forward to some fun comic books for us to talk about today because I got another list of books that I think you might be interested in. This is another episode of Hidden Gems. We are, which one is this? Episode 18 now. So we've been doing this a little while. I changed the format a bit, so we do have the categories. I hopefully you guys are enjoying that as I'm still enjoying this series. And yeah, so if you like what I'm doing here, let me know in the comment section. Please like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Keep telling your friends so we can keep growing the channel. We are getting closer and closer to 2,000 subscribers, and we will be doing another giveaway very soon. Maybe we'll do a small giveaway in between now and the big giveaway for 2K. But I don't know, figure things out. I'm still having a lot of fun doing these shows, and hopefully you guys are enjoying watching them. And if you want to see what books I want to talk about this week, those hidden gems, those books that are tucked away at your LCS that may be in the back issue bin, not necessarily wall books or top 10 hot books or anything like that, just interesting books that you might find either underpriced, undervalued, or just still hidden away in those boxes at your shops. Just hang on for a few seconds as I got a nice little list for you this week. And I'll be right back after the intro. S tier. Okay, so to start us off this week, we are going to hit up first with our quick artist retrospective. I have been doing this the last few weeks. I may not do artists every week, but we are doing another one today. So today's quick artist retrospective is going to be covering Miss Jen Bartel. Fantastic artist, fantastic cover work. Also does some interiors. She is a highly underrated artist. I feel like her name doesn't get thrown out there as much as you hear like Frizen and the Peach Momokos. Like, I don't think as many people give Jen Bartel the credit, I think she deserves. This Dr. Aphra is one that has gotten pretty pricey. I think this is one of the books that a lot of people know her for the last couple of years, but she's done a number of variants, including some very recent ones that have immediately grabbed some attention right when they hit the market, like that Daredevil, Woman Without Fear. I think that was hitting like double ratio the week that came out. This Poison Ivy Harley Quinn book just came out, I think, within the last few weeks, and I think there was a high ratio like foil version or something that I think was doing pretty well right out of the gate. And then you can go back to even this Riri Williams Ironheart incentive that she did, which I think is one of the prize books for Riri these days. One of those variants that is at the top of most collectors' want lists if they don't have one already. She's done a number of variant covers and just cover work in general. She's done some themes and done some complete runs of her own. Like, I don't know if you remember just a year or so ago. I think it was just a year or so ago. She did all of these the Women of Marvel, where it was almost like a little fashion magazine kind of like type covers, and they ran across a bunch of Marvel books. I think the She-Hulk book is another one that sticks out in my mind, but I didn't grab the image for that one. But here are just a few examples of some of the things that she has worked on of late. And including, as I mentioned, She-Hulk, she's doing the cover A's for the current run of She-Hulk, and we are getting that series soon to Disney Plus. So let's not forget that. I know we are all still anxious. At least I am enjoying Ms. Marvel, and this series is going to be ending pretty soon, and we will be hitting Andor and She-Hulk before we know it. I mean, August will get here very, very quickly. But this is the stuff she's worked on currently. But let's go back again, for it being a quick artist retrospective. Let's go back to her beginnings and hit some of her high points, I would say. She started out as like a fan artist. She was doing fan art from when I gather like Ghostbusters and things like that way back before she got any paid work. And I believe her first paid work was actually on this Gem and the Holograms issue 7. This is the subscription cover, so it's like sort of a cover B. It's not an incentive, but this is the subscription cover from IDW for Gem and the Holograms for issue 7. And she went on to do a whole run of covers here and there. I mean, some of them were ratio, some of them were not. Some were cover A's, some were cover B's, some subscription covers of whole smattering of different types of covers. But that was in 2015 when she started, and you can just see some of the cool stuff. And you can see her art is, at least to me, it's very distinctive. Like I can recognize her art just by looking at the eyes. Like I don't know, there's something about the faces that she draws. They're, to me, instantly recognizable as Jen Bartel's work. I don't know how to explain it. It's the same thing with Frizen. Like it just artist has a unique, style, and a lot of times you pick it out like that. And I think Bartel has one of those, and I think it is a unique style. Now these Gem and the Hologram books can do pretty well. Specifically that number 7. To point that out, these are like the early issues. Here's like that 7, and you can see there's an issue 12 as an example. Issue 17. Again, she did a number of covers throughout this run from IDW, so look out for all of them because they are pretty cool and also pretty nostalgic. Look, 9.8 of that Gem and the Holograms number 7. Best offer on $600 where they accepted $485. Did you know there was a Gem and the Holograms book that you can get almost a $500 9.8 in? Probably not. Sure, copies can sell as cheap as like $10, but they are also more expensive than that. As you can see by some of the asking prices here, $30, $40 for a lot of these issue 7s for this first work by Jen Bartel. I am also a first artist, kind of like collector. I love collecting that kind of stuff, so I get it. It is going to command a premium for a lot of people, but you just got to be patient, and maybe you get lucky and you find these at a shop. I'm not telling you go out and buy at the market. That's not the purpose of these videos. I'm showing you the market so you can see what things are actually selling for, what things people are asking for on like eBay. So this way, when you hit your shop, you know what you're looking at, and you can make the decision on your own of whether you want to buy that book or not based on the price you find. Because I can't say how your shop's going to price. I don't know what the prices are in the Midwest or down south or on the West Coast, even the East Coast. It's a crapshoot depending where you go, how things are going to be priced. Different shops do have different strategies. Some price by eBay prices. Some still use Overstreet. Some just don't price at all. Just everything's cover. Like shops do things how shops are going to do. So depending what you have near you, I'm just trying to give you information to help you make the call yourself, because I don't want you to listen. Don't listen to me. Don't buy something because I tell you to buy something or anybody tells you to buy something. You make the decision for yourself. It's your collection. It's your money after all. I'm just trying to give you some info, show you some books that you might find interesting, and then you decide what you want to do with that. And with that, let's keep going through some more Gem and the Holograms because I like it. I mean, look at that. It's a gorgeous cover on issue 25. 24 and 26 was the last issue of the series, and I've talked about this many times before. Final issues and late run issues generally command a premium, so always be mindful of where a run ends, so you know what books to keep an eye out for. Because if you find a whole run of Gem and the Holograms, you may not want to buy the whole thing. So which ones are you going to pick out? You pick out the ones that jump out at you as far as covers go. The ones I could point out to you, like the first Jen Bartel cover, which is at issue 7, perhaps issue 26, which is the final issue. Things like that. You make the decision of what you want to buy, but those are the ones you want to keep in your mental Rolodex, so when you see them, you know what you're looking at and what you're looking for in case you stumble across these books in a box somewhere, whether it be at a shop, a flea market, a used bookstore, a yard sale, a garage sale. I don't know. Wherever you find books, you got to have some sort of plan. I mean, you can just flip through boxes, but it's always better when you have a knowledge base of some books that when you hit certain things, all right, out of this grouping, out of this title, what am I looking for? And you look for those first. It'll help you along, and it'll help you with your collecting long term. So issue 26, as I mentioned, is that final issue. You can see a whole run of Gem and the Holograms can run $180. And then you can see a little grouping of those final issues together, sold for $15 recently. Not setting the world on fire. Those are not like crazy prices. But you look at some of the asking prices, they also can be all over the place. It could be as cheap as like cover for $4, whereas somebody else might be asking close to $20 because, again, it is that final issue. It all depends. It's all with the timing and the market. Just because something is priced this way today when we're looking at it, once copies are gone, the market will be completely different in a week or two, depending on what's still left and what's still available. Because not a lot of people will look at the history of things. They'll just see, oh, well, right now, all copies are $20, $30. So this must always be a $20 to $30 book. Meanwhile, all the recent sales were all cover price or under $10 or something like that. It all depends. That's why you got to decide how you want to spend your money, because it is your money after all. But that's Gem and the Holograms, where she kind of got her start. And she did that, as you can see, well, was it 2015? She did from like issue 7 through 26. So, that's almost a couple of years worth of books. But in between all of that, in 2016, she also did some books like this. This is Slam. This is a Virgin cover, and this is a 1 in 20, and this is for issue 1. I had to put those extra details on here because otherwise I wouldn't know or remember what this book was because it's not in the trade dress. There is no trade dress here. So this is Slam, like I said, number 1 of the 1 in 20 incentive. Can't imagine there's a lot of these. And this is a higher ratio than I normally point out, but since we're talking about an artist, this is an artist cover. Pretty cool. I kind of dig it. I'm going to look for it and see if I can find one for a decent price. I'm going to be looking for half ratio or less personally. But that all said, it's not going to be easy. Right now, I looked. There were none sold recently, and there are a couple of available, but they are not cheap. So I'm probably not going to get lucky and find it for half ratio or less, but who knows? Maybe I will. $100 asking price for a 9/8 and then $60 asking for a raw is what I can see out there on the market right now for this particular cover. She also did an incentive for issue 3, which is only a 1 in 15 issue. I like it with the kind of like the Ben-Day dots in the background. It kind of gives it like a hazy kind of vibe with the I don't know. I dig the cover. I dig the art. Again, it's a Virgin cover, so issue 3, 1 in 15. Slam is the title. I saw a lot of things noting that it was optioned. I have no idea if it was optioned or not. I'm not going to go and dig into that because optioned indie stuff, it really doesn't matter. We talked a little bit about this on the TAC show and a little bit on the Star Wars show recently. Just because an indie gets optioned, be careful how much you spend your money on it. I get it. FOMO hits everyone. You get excited. You want to have that book too. But realistically, there's only so far some of these books can go, or they really should go, because interest will fade very, very quickly. And just don't get caught holding that hot potato at the end of the day. Just be very mindful of that with your money. If you find a book for cheap, great. If you can sell a book for more than that because somebody else wants to pay you, fine. That's their call. We're all adults here. Somebody wants to spend that money. That's on them. I'm just trying to help you and my viewers, at least, to make those calls and try to be safe with their money, safe with their collections, because you don't want to be left holding the bag just by listening to somebody else. So that's why I'm giving you info. You make the call yourself. Don't listen to me. Just look at the stuff I'm giving you as a guidance so you can make the decision for yourself. Because again, it's your collection and it's your money. Take ownership of it. That said, this book, again, also had no sales recently for this 1 in 15 for issue 3, this variant. And it's going to be tough. And I couldn't find any copies available for this one either. So this might be a tough one to go and track down, I should say. But good luck if you want to go look for it. I'm going to go look for it, but if you look as well, good luck. And we're going to move on to the next book. We're going to move on to Faith Valiant. Yeah, she hopped over to Valiant in 2017. And here's another ratio, only a 1 in 10. So it's only a 1 in 10 incentive. So this could be easily found. And this book was actually had a decent print run. Like Faith was one of the better selling, I should say, Valiant titles of the time. I remember it was getting very, very popular for a stretch there. So there could be copies plentiful out there. There could be copies of the 1 in 10 just tucked away in regular boxes. That's why I'm mentioning it here. Granted, none have sold recently for this 1 in 10 to kind of give us that market price or market idea of what it might sell for. But we can say that an asking price of one, $10, it's basically asking ratio with free shipping. So if you don't count the shipping, half of that $10.80 is going to be the shipping price. So you're basically paying cover price for this book and then plus shipping if you were to buy this one. So definitely not an expensive book. I'm not saying it should be an expensive book. I'm just pointing it out. This is some Jen Bartel work. This is an incentive ratio that she did that could be interesting, and keep an eye out for it in a box, because maybe you can find it in a cheap bin somewhere, maybe in a dollar box for that matter. You'd never know. Just know the cover, so when you see it, you know what it is. Also for Faith, she also did issue 12. She did like covers B, C, and D. So these aren't ratios, these aren't incentive, these are the variant covers, but these are like the regular issue variant covers. And you can see the different styles and the different looks. We get this mouse dude and you know, cats and stuff. Interesting work, interesting covers, and just something, again, just to keep an eye out for if you're looking for Jen Bartel stuff. None sold for these books recently, and asking prices, they're actually asking for more than incentive book. Look, $16 I found somebody asking for this issue 12 here, and that's from Cyprus. So and a free shipping though, so that's not too bad. I thought it would be some kind of crazy international shipping, but not too bad. That said, let's move on to some other work she did working on America Chavez. She did a short run of covers here, including one of my favorite incentives. So this issue 5, where you got Kate Bishop Hawkeye, you got Pizza Dog. This became pretty popular with the Hawkeye show recently, and we also knew we were getting America Chavez. So a lot of people were looking for this book because of the first kind of team up, or what, I don't know, whatever. Yes, it's got two characters that have things going on for them. So if you need to have it because of that, great. If you just want to get it because it's a cool cover, awesome. You buy it for whatever reason you want. Just be mindful you don't pay too much. That's it. This is number 5 of the run. She also did the cover for I think 6 and 7. So there's 6. And I showed this is the 1 in 25 variant for issue 8 that she also did because, again, that's one of my favorites. I don't know. I love that cover. I submitted it a couple of times. I got denied on my 9.8 pre-screen the first time. Then I just sent it in just to get it graded. And then they gave me the 9.8 anyway. So whatever. So I do have a 9.8 of that book in my collection, but that's for me. That's because, again, I like Jen Bartel's work, and I like that cover in particular, and I like that issue, and I love it having it in my PC. So with that, let's see what the prices are on some of these books. Like, we're not going to look at that incentive because that one's actually a pretty pricey incentive these days. But $15.50 for this issue 5, and you can see issue 5 and 6, $32 accepted on a best offer, and then a 9.8 of this issue 5 sold for $96 at auction. Back in April, so it was a little while ago, but yeah, solid prices on that. If you can find it like in a cheap box, you can find this thing maybe buried for cover, even double cover. You might be able to make out because you look right now, this issue 5 is asking anywhere from $20 to $30 online. So depending on the price that you find it at, maybe find a decent book just for this cool cover. All right, so we're going to move on from America over to her indie book, and I love this the art on this Blackbird series that she did in 2018. Apart from the gorgeous covers that she did, the variants were great as well because she got other artists to do some of the variant covers for her series. And it's only 6 issues. This what I'm showing you here is issue 1. I think is that issue 2, and the final issue 6 here, just as examples, just so you can see it. I love the colors. It's just gorgeous covers. And like I said, the variants are pretty cool too. And there's some decent cover work there as well. I know like monstrous artist Santa Takeda. I don't know if I'm saying their names right, but just look into it. 6 issues. The B covers are also really cool as well. And you might be able to find these still at a decent price because this isn't a series that's running for like a ton of money. So keep an eye out for it. Yes, it's selling for like $9 online, but that's with free shipping. So it's basically selling for cover plus shipping when you think about it. And you look at the available copies right here, any, of the various issues, it's like $7, $8. It's, yeah, maybe double cover thereabouts, but you might be able to still find these at a shop near you in those old indie boxes, maybe on those image shelves, wherever you can find those books. You might still be able to find this run because, again, it's only 6 issues, gorgeous art throughout. And I think it is just, well worth the read, well worth your collection. Again, who knows if it's ever going to get optioned. If it is optioned, it could be optioned right now for all I know. But that shouldn't matter. That shouldn't be the only driving force of you collecting comic books is because they're going to make something else out of it. Let's just enjoy comics for them being comics. Let's not forget that. Let's just enjoy the medium for what it is before we focus too much on the adaptations to television and movies. Because, yes, it's cool. It brings other eyes to the products, but let's not forget why we are doing this. Well, at least why I'm doing this. I love comics, but that's just me. Keeping on, we're almost through. If you're getting tired of me talking about Jen Bartel, I apologize, but we're almost through this. Nebula, she did the first 2 issues for this series as well, and this is an underrated and not that easy to find, just regular Marvel run. Like I think it's only 4 issues total, thereabouts. I think it's like 4 issues, but this issue 1 does all right on its own. And like I said, she also did the cover for issue 2 as well for this Nebula series, and it's done all right the last year or two. You can see issue 1 selling for over $32, and then there was also a best offer that was under $10. So pricing can be kind of inconsistent, but it can sell for a decent amount. It could sell for pretty cheap. It's all in the timing, so you keep an eye out for it, and maybe you can get lucky. You look online right now. There's copies listed for issue 1 for $10 or for $37 for that same issue 1, and then issue 2, my comic shop's got it for only $4.70. So like a little over cover for that issue 2, but. Yeah, who knows if you can find them. Again, keep an eye out for this series because, like I said, it's not a lot of issues. I think it's only 4 issues, and doing all right. We're gonna get Nebula again soon. If you're in it for the movies, we're getting Guardians 3 before we know it. And I think my last book for Jen Bartel here is this issue 25, which is the final issue, I believe, of the Unbelievable Gwenpool. I think it had 3 covers, and I think it's the C cover. If I'm not mistaken, or it's one of the regular issue variants, but it's still not easy to track down. And it is a really cool cover. I love the background. You got the little hearts and confetti and what have you back behind it. So it's kind of bright, kind of pops, but it does all right. So keep an eye out for this bright popping cover because you might be able to find yourself a book that can get $20 up to $50 on its own, or you can find them in lots if you get the lots of all 3 of those variants that I mentioned. And if you want to look online what the asking prices are, well, the asking prices are asking $50, $60, $100 raw for this particular issue. So keep an eye out for it in the box. In case you stumble across Unbelievable Gwenpool, look for the Bartel cover. It's not an incentive variant. You might be able to find it just at a shop near you. Who knows? And maybe you can find it in a back issue bin for cover price or less even. Maybe a little bit more, but just look at the prices and you make the decision whether it's a good buy or not. And with that, we are going to move on to our next segment. And our next segment is variants. I know I always like doing variants, and I usually follow up the artist because I usually follow up with some variants that might tie in with the artist. This week, however, I'm not doing a direct tie into the artist, but we're going to go back to the Gem and the Holograms because, as you might guess, IDW, Gem and the Holograms, there's some 1 in 10s that we want to take a look at because they're kind of cool. There's not going to be a lot of them, and they're kind of cool covers. So we have this one. This 1 in 10 for issue 5. It's the retailer incentive, and it's a pretty cool cover. I can't remember who did this one. This was why am I drawing a blank? I'm drawing a blank of who did this did the art for this cover. But issue 5 is one you want to go keep an eye out for. No copies have sold recently, so I don't have a current market price for you. But if you wanted to buy one, right? Oh, it's Stephanie Hans. That's who it is. It's Stephanie Hans. So Stephanie Hans cover, $12, $10. So it's asking ratio, basically, online. I don't know if that's bad. If you're a big Gem and the Holograms fan, or you just think it's cool, you might be able to spend your money worse. I'm just saying. I've considered it. I think I put these on my watch list because I'm debating whether I want to add it because I think it's kind of cool. I don't know. I remember Gem and the Holograms when I was a kid. Yes, you might say, oh, it's a girl show, but it was still the 80s, and it was kind of fun. I remember the girl stuff, too. Strawberry Shortcake, Rainbow Bright. You don't need to draw lines here. That said, the next issue as well, I believe issue 6, also had a pretty cool incentive variant, and this one was done by Tommy Lee Edwards, and this one's spotlighting the Misfits. So I kind of dig this. This is a pretty cool 1 in 10, and this one is also very cheap online. While none have sold recently for this particular one, there are copies available, and they're, look, $6, $4.50, $8, under ratio. It's not bad. So I might end up buying one of these too. Again, that's just for me. I'm not saying these are going to be worth a ton of money or anything like that. I'm just saying this is just a kind of a cool little book that I didn't know about until I started doing some of this research, and I found it, and now I'm kind of interested and I kind of want one. That's all. So you make the decision whether you want one too, and if you do, some of these prices aren't too bad. You could do worse. Following that up, let's go to another oddball title that has some 1 in 10s, and that oddball title I want to talk about here is Die Hard Year 1. Yeah, we're doing all the action heroes, the action hero tier list over on the Tack Show on Wednesdays. So if you like that kind of thing, definitely come check it out on Wednesdays live. We'll be going through a few more weeks, actually, of the action hero tier list. So if you like the 80s, even 90s action, we're going to be talking about all these guys. Great. We haven't hit Bruce Willis yet, but we will. We will before the tier listing is over. But Die Hard Year 1. This is issue 7. Cover C. It's a 1 in 10. He also had, I think, for a good chunk of the run, there were a decent number of 1 in 10s for, look, I think that's issue 4, issue 6. They're not going to be easy to find these things. Even looking online, they are not easy to find. In fact, couldn't find any of these copies kind of like sold recently. And it's just some of the asking prices. They could be as cheap as, look, $9. There's a lot of four different ones for only $28, $8 on their own, $8 over there. So under ratio, they're interesting little books to me. Pretty cool thing, especially if you like John McClane. So if you're interested in John McClane, go check these out if you haven't seen them. There's also a 1 in 25 or number 1 we're going to get into eventually for Chasing Ghosts. I don't know if it's tomorrow or next week, but I know I put it on the list because it's just one of those fun covers. That said, next category we're moving on to is later prints. Yes, I still do like the later printings. They are what they are. Just they remember their reprints. Some of these covers can be cool. Some of these covers can be fun. They're just a nice little collectible that you can go hunt down. Print runs are probably usually less than the original first prints, but don't use that as a I don't know. You collect how you want to collect. All I'm saying is don't get too caught up in the later printings when we're talking about first appearances because they technically are reprints. Let's not forget that. But this second print variant for issue 492 of Uncanny X-Men is pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. I think it's a Billy Tan cover for this. We got Angel, and you don't get a lot of Angel covers where he's not Archangel. Like, I mean, everybody loves to draw the Archangel, not so much Angel. So this, I think, is a pretty solid Angel cover if you like the character of Warren Worthington III. No copies have sold recently on this one, and this particular one is actually pretty affordable. Look, there's a copy available for $1, $3.89, or $40 and $24. There's another case where pricing can be very inconsistent. So somebody's asking 40, another person's asking $1. So that's what's out there right now. How long those last, who knows? But that's 492, and then we're also going to look at this next issue, 493, which is I think is also a Billy Tan cover. This one is a little bit pricier. I mean, it's pretty cool. You got some the Star Jammers in there. You got some Morlocks. You got X-23. You got Wolverine. You got all kinds of. It was probably I think that's Rain down below. You got some X-Force ties in there. Copies sold on this one sold for $15 back in June 13th. So it's a couple of weeks ago. Got $15. But if you want to look at that market right now, the asking price $20 to $55 for this one. So again, some of these second printings can have high price tags. So keep that in mind. When you're digging in a box and you find something that looks like, oh, it's an oddball second print, if it's cheap enough, maybe just grab it and then, you take your chances, because it could be something that's collectible to somebody else, even if you're not that interested in it. So just something to be mindful of. A couple others that we want to talk about for this week. Carnage USA, it being 4th of July. And also figured Carnage USA. Let's take a look at these second printings. We did, I think, some of the incentive covers on Chasing Ghosts before, but here are the second prints for issue 1. Pretty cool. Clayton Crane cover. Not too bad. This one sells all right. This one, $50, $70. And those are both at auction. One had 2 bids, and then $70 had 9 bids back in April. Granted, that's a little while ago now, but you even look at what's on the market right now, $50. That was one at auction, $70 buy it now, $90 buy it now. Not a cheap book, this particular one. And neither is the second issue, also a Clayton Crane, also from Carnage USA. This is issue 2. This one is also pretty darn pricey. If you can find it in a box, you've done all right. Look, $125 one sold for back on May 8th. $125 raw for this particular second print book. That is a solid price for just basically a second print variant. That's it. There's nothing else really I can think of that's going on for this book. I don't think this is his first appearance of any kind. That's all driving this. I think it's just the fact that it's probably one of those harder to find second printings. And you look at the asking prices: $135, $116, $250 raw. Yeah, not cheap. So keep an eye out for this. If you find some Carnage USA in a box, maybe you can get lucky, and maybe you can get lucky and find the second prints for issues 1 or 2, because they're pretty pricey. Moving on, let's hit some nostalgia, some of my personal nostalgia. I was talking to my buddy at work who also is into comics. I mean, he has a shop of his own after all. But we were talking, and he mentioned these other WWE books. I know everybody's looking at the other, those incentive variants, those hard to find ratios, the IDW books, but don't forget Super Genius. This other imprint from back in the day had some WWE comics as well. And granted, the art may not be as great as it is on some of those IDW book or the Boom books, but just be mindful of these. These may not be easy to find, and these are some interesting covers, and they even have some interesting like homages here too. I mean, look, there's that ASM 316 homage there, but it looks like Cena and I can't think of his name. The big guy. Yeah. Hart? No. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. And also, these were all written by Mick Foley, Mankind, if you know Cactus Jack. So Mick Foley is the author of these titles from the Super Genius times. And they also had photo covers as well. So if you are that type of collector who likes getting signatures on books, keep these in mind as well, because these have some pretty cool photo covers. Look, you got the Wyatt family there on that issue there. I mean, unfortunately, Luke Harper's no longer with us, but you still could probably get Bray Wyatt and maybe even Eric Rowan to sign that book for you if you found one, So this is the kind of stuff. This is the early part of the run, this first issue, a couple of variants as well. So just to kind of give you a ballpark idea of what these things go for. Look, they could be pretty cheap. $3, $4, $7. These are not super duper expensive, but they're not all that easy to find. And even some of the asking prices can be a little unclear. I mean, $5, $8, $25. Granted, issue 1 had multiple variants on it. I mean, you can see there's that one has an Undertaker variant. It's all issue 1 there. But there are some cool ones throughout this run, including also in the spirit of 4th of July, this Hulkster. So you got this Joe Jusko painted Hulk Hogan there on this particular, what issue is this? This is October. I think it's issue 9. I think this is issue 9 of the run. And then there's also a pretty cool Hulk Hogan photo cover too that you can get, and then you got this NWO version for issue 11 where it's Secret Wars 8. Like I said, some fun homages to some regular comics with some of these super genius wrestling books, and some of these can have decent price tags. I mean, let's look at this Hulkster book. Best offer accepted on $50. They took $34. And then there's the CM Punk book down there that they got $18 for. So some of these can sell pretty well. Right now, there's none of this particular issue out there or any of those crazy Hulk Hogan books that I look for. So they move pretty quickly when they do hit the market. So it could be hard to find online, but go check your shops. Who knows? Maybe you get lucky and you find some of these super genius wrestling books. But with that said, we got one more category just before we wrap up here, and we're going to hit up some oddities because I like covering some of this oddball stuff too. And JJ had mentioned it last night as a good topic of something to cover. And I was like, buddy, how did you know I was going to talk about these today? How did he know? I think just great minds think alike. But yes, Amazing Spider-Man #1. This is the Golden Records reprint. So these are reprints, and these are early reprints. These are like the first reprints of these books because this is from the 60s, but these came with these records. This is why I put this in oddities, because maybe you can find these in some sort of record store or some record shop or at a yard sale in the records. Maybe you're not going to find them with comics, and maybe you find the comic still inside with the record as part of that collection, because these things are very pricey if you can find them. And there are a couple of these different records and comics sort of reprints. So this is an ASM 1 that came with this, with this record that has some exciting, I think it's like you listen to it, it's exciting stories. I think Mark was also mentioned these before too, but these do all right. Look, this ASM sold comic book. They graded it at very fine, 8.0, $985 with 35 bids. 35 bids. It's a lot of action and a lot of interest. A lot of people are aware of these, but not everybody is, which is why I'm putting it here. So you can know about them too if you didn't already, and know to look for them. Because you never know. You never know what you find out there, especially if you're hitting up a used, like a Goodwill store, anything. Like this is just one of those oddball things that maybe you don't find it in the comic book section. Maybe you find these with, like I said, the records. And then you can see there's a graded copy with the Stanley signature, $2,500. I mean, who knows how much it was because of the Stanley Sig, but these things sell pretty well. Even the asking prices. Look, there's the record, the case, and the comic. $1,200 they're asking for. There's an 8.5 of just the comic, $1,200 that had 28 bids. This one's probably over now because I think I grabbed these images over the weekend. But and then a 6.5 asking $1,600. These are not cheap. These are very expensive, and I'm not saying you're going to find these easily. I'm just putting these out there because they're kind of odd, and like I said, maybe you find them somewhere other than in a comic store because they're tied to the records. And with that, there's also Fantastic Four #1 had the same deal. Golden Records reprint. This one came with a green looking record here. So keep an eye out for this one. Just look, they all kind of have the same vibe, the same kind of look to them. So in case you get lucky and you hit up a record store, like I said, you're at a flea market, somebody's got a stack of like records in the back that you wouldn't even think to look through because you're a comic book collector. But just go look. Just go take a peek. You never know what you might find. But this one also sells pretty well. $500 for the comic, $2,900 for the whole record set with the comic, $2,000. Somebody accepted a best offer. I didn't go look up that price for that one because it was started getting late, and it doesn't matter. It's very expensive prices, very expensive sales. Asking price, $750. I did look it up. Look at that. I did $750. They accepted on a $2,000 ask. Still decent amount. Available copies. I grabbed the wrong image there, but we're just going to move on. It's unimportant. You get the idea. Journey into Mystery also had one. So first Thor, he also had a record that had a reprint. So they come to life with these Marvel Spectaculars, these Golden Records reprints. Keep an eye out for all of them. This is our third one after all. $1,000. Like I see a lot of copies selling for $1,000, $721. A lot of these getting graded. This is a little bit cheaper than the other two, but hey, the asking prices aren't, mind you. $1,300, $1,200, $4,000 for a 9.8. Imagine getting a 9.8 of this. This is a reprint after all, but this is also from 1966. So a 9.8 from 1966 ain't going to be that easy to find. So I'd also keep that one in mind too. It may have had the money, but I don't. But I like looking. And our last Golden Record reprint that we're going to talk about is Avengers. This one here has a purple record. This is Avengers #4. This is when Cap joins the team. Again, classic comic. These are all obviously classic key comic books. And finding the regular first editions is going to be impossible for most of us. And even finding these reprints was going to be impossible for most of us. But that doesn't mean we don't need to know that they exist just in case. So that's what I'm hoping to do. Spread some awareness, give you guys some info. Look, $600 for the whole record set, $450 for the comic, $625 for CGC 80 with some off-white pages. Asking prices on this one, they're asking anywhere from $300, $400 for it raw. So it's the cheapest. I love this grouping, but still not cheap when you think about it. But still a fun little thing and a fun little oddity and something I hope you guys appreciate. And hopefully you're still enjoying this series because I'm still enjoying doing it. I already have next week's planned out and I got ideas for weeks beyond this. There's so many comics and so many things that I want to share and cover with you that I'm open to taking suggestions. So feel free, shout out some ideas, send me comments through Instagram, the comment down on the video below. I appreciate the feedback. Thanks for stopping by and checking this out. Hopefully you are still enjoying this series as well as everything else here on the channel. So let me know. Like I said, I appreciate the feedback. It's good to know that I'm covering things that you guys are actually enjoying. And if I'm not, I'd like to know that as well, so I don't waste my time digging into topics that nobody else wants to hear about but me. So just, let's keep this a community. Let's keep the conversation going. Come join us for the live chats on Wednesdays and on Sundays for the Star Wars show. And with that, I'm going to take my S-tier soda with me and film my next video for tomorrow. All right. See you guys later.